I almost am scared to go into it.
Just take it nice and easy, okay? Just
I'm
relax.
almost a little scared to talk about the Pac-12 ESPN debacle.
You're a douche.
Because we have sources at ESPN. Andrew Marchand at the New York Post reported today that ESPN and the Pac-12 are not close on a new deal.
Oh.
That's not good, dude.
And so, of course, when we saw that, we reached out to our sources who shockingly, and I do not say that lightly, who shockingly have told us that ESPN and the Pac-12 have not talked for more than a month. And my guy over there said, I think it's been about 6 weeks.
Oh, what are you talking about, man?
Since ESPN and the Pac-12 have talked. And you're starting to see this picture. And the other thing that I was told was that the Pac-12 went to ESPN and said, hey, we're going to go all in on Apple. You're going to regret not going all in on us. Now, if that's actually the case, and I have no reason to believe it's not, this is the problem with the Pac-12 right now. The arrogance of the Pac-12.
It's always been there, man.
It is remarkable. And again, I will tell you that George Kliavkoff is a guy who now regularly you do not see in front of a microphone because of incidents like this.
How many UCLA coaches and athletes have you spoken with to assess their thoughts on the move to the Big Ten?
I think saying hundreds would be an exaggeration. Dozens, more than 100. And I have yet to talk to anyone in the UCLA and USC community who's in favor of the move. I will say that I probably hear from folks who are not in favor, right? Not surprisingly.
So wait, let me get this right. And just to refresh your memory, George Kliavkoff said this, and it let off shockwaves. And so there was an actual study commissioned, I believe it was by the USC newspaper.
I believe so, yes.
Who commissioned a study of UCLA and USC personnel and students who overwhelmingly said, we want to be in the same conference with the other, USC or UCLA.
Right.
And we're in favor of the move. So again, what do you have here? You have a guy who just makes it up as he goes along.
Jackass.
And so you don't see him in front of the media because our sources have told us George Kliavkoff is not authorized to give interviews.
He is not permitted.
The executive committee has to approve the interviews that he does. And then you have a guy like Brett Yormark talking about, I don't know, let's say Gonzaga.
Is there anything new on Gonzaga as a possible Big 12 candidate for basketball?
I like Gonzaga, obviously a great program. My focus right now is to see what happens throughout our industry. There's a lot of moving parts, and I continue to have conversations with Gonzaga, but I think as I prioritize what our next move might be in expansion, there's other things right now that I'm focused on.
And do you see the contrast?
Gonzaga.
Hey, man, I'm focused on other things, but we really like Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Somebody will tell him, trust me.
I like Gonzaga.
Hey, we really like Gonzaga, but I'm focused on other things right now. And then he went on to talk about how he's prioritizing basketball revenue. George Kliavkoff is a huge problem for the Pac-12. And I think Pac-12 presidents see that. And then on top of that, there has been this huge debate about whether or not the Four Corner schools are talking to the Four Corner schools in the Pac-12 are talking to the Big 12. And we've had this out on the show. We've played president after president who's acknowledged that, Arizona State, you have all of these presidents who have openly said, yeah, you know what, we've talked, the president in Arizona straight up said, yeah, I've talked to them. They're great guys. I love the footprint.
It's all good, man.
It's all good, dude.
Hey, Georgie Pooh, when you coming back with the deal sheet, man?
But the Utah community, the Utah fan base, my guy Utah Pig Bus again today, crawling up my ass, telling me that I'm just doubling down.
Suckmyass.com.
And fortunately, There is one hero, and I hesitate to go too far in on this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But there is one guy in Salt Lake City sports who actually asked the right questions in an interview, and that's Bill Riley at ESPN 700, because Bill had President Randall on his show today and asked him directly, are you talking to the Big 12?
We are in solidarity with our Pac-12 president peers. We are working to get a deal that's beneficial to all of us as a conference. That said, we certainly think the Big 12 has put together a great conference. They're a great set of schools as well, but right now we think staying in solidarity with our Pac-12 schools is the right place to be.
Now, I know I'm just some dude. I know that I don't know what I'm talking about. But if we go up here to President Robbins from Arizona, tell me that he didn't say essentially the exact same thing. This is from CBS Sports, where he talks about how he has some affinities for the powerhouse basketball brand. How he, here he says it's heavily dependent on, Kliavkoff and his team negotiating a good media deal for us to stay competitive. Right? Like, I mean, these comments, like he's talking about how Robbins said that Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, it's no secret, is in recruit mode. You guys, what are we even discussing here?
Saga.
You have, and I'm going to play it again because I want to make sure you understand I am not misconstruing this at all. You have the president of the University of Utah, who we reported last week. I'll remind you, last week sources told us, hey, we've been talking to the Big 12, but we don't feel like we're a fit academically, and we're concerned that we would lose academic revenue by joining the Big 12 and leaving the affiliations we have right now in the Pac-12. Right?
Right.
Bill Riley, ESPN 700 in Salt Lake City today. The question that was asked here is, hey, are you guys talking to the Big 12?
We are in solidarity with our Pac-12 president peers. We are working to get a deal that's beneficial to all of us as a conference. That said, we certainly think the Big 12 has put together a great conference. They're a great set of schools as well, but right now we think staying in solidarity with our Pac-12 schools is the right place to be.
I mean, it's almost verbatim a script.
These guys are never going to say, hey, yeah, I was on my iPhone 15 yesterday.
When
and me and Brett were talking, dude.
No. When BY called me last,
BY.
But what are they all saying? They're not answering the question, are you talking to the Big 12? And to his credit, because I know that we're hard on sports media in Salt Lake City.
No, you guys just hate the media in this town.
But to Bill Riley's credit, number one, he is the voice of Utah athletics. He is the play-by-play voice. Number two, he clearly has relationships with these guys. He asked him point blank, are you talking to the Big 12? To which the president blew off that question, never answered it, right? Which is what we've seen all of these guys do.
Standard protocol.
But seriously, if you think about it, Ray Anderson, all of these Pac-12 athletic directors, like, they've all completely blown it off, right? But they say the exact same thing. No, I think our conference is strong. I really like the conference that we have.
We're in solidarity.
We're in lockstep. Didn't Mark Harlan use the word lockstep?
Yeah.
Like, all these great praises. But what do they all do right after that? But, man, I really like the Big 12. Those are some sharp people over there. In Arizona's case, I love the footprint. It's really close to us. They're a powerhouse basketball brand.
I'd love to be closer to the SEC, but the Big 12 will do.
They all say the exact same thing. They're talking about the answer.
And they're all talking to each other about the answer,
And
dude.
what did you say before the show in our pre-show meeting today? Jake said, you notice how all these guys now are all over the place? They're talking to the media. They're giving interviews when they haven't said anything for months. And you know why they're doing that? Because they're in spin control. They're in damage control.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to play this bite about the value of the Pac-12. And this is, in my opinion, these are really important sound bites that you hear from these presidents, because you don't get the presidents often. President Randall at Utah talking about the value proposition that he sees in the Pac-12.
I think first things first, we feel like there's still tremendous value in the 10 teams remaining in the Pac-12. I guess that's Pac-10. We have a strong set of brands. The way I think about the value of a league is you've got to have, what comes out of the value of these contracts is really three things. First, you got to have strong brands, which we have. The second is you got to make an argument that these brands are actually going to win and create great matchups. And if you look at our league next year, I don't know what your predictions are for the top 25, but I think even leaving SC and UCLA out, you've got 4 teams that are probably ranked in the top 25. So anytime you have top 25 ranked teams playing, that creates viewership. So our value goes up there. And then the final big component is, do you have the right distribution for your games? Are you talking to the right media partners? And we're in the middle of negotiations. I can't reveal much about those, but I'm confident we have the right people at the table. I think they're seeing the value in our league the same way that we are seeing it.
Great job by Bill Riley at ESPN 700 in Salt Lake City. Asked the right questions, got the right answers. First of all, Jake could not wait to play that bite today. Why were you so excited to play that bite?
Because for months we've had to play this little game on the show, and everyone who's talked about this has had to play this little game. Okay, well, it's the Pac-12, but we have 10 teams. So is it the Pac-10 or the Pac-12? What is it? What's it going to be?
And
then my guy, Buddy, made the same mistake in this clip.
And look at flipping DeLambo. He said it, Pac-10.
That's what I'm saying. Dude said it.
DeLambo's here for it. But overall, by the way, I think as we talk about this, make sure you hit the like button, please. All 424 of you watching the show, please give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. But as we talk about this, I think these are real conversations, because when you hear these interviews and you hear President Randall at Utah, we're committed to the remaining 10 members of the Pac-12, like, these are real life-changing decisions for hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. When you look at educational people, revenue-generating people, obviously athletes and their coaches and their support staff. Where are we at in
society today?
Right? Like, you have all of these people who are sitting here just waiting for this, and then you have this sect of fans in the Pac-12 who are like, oh man, we never talk to anybody. It'd be so disrespectful. Then you have this PR machine in the Big 12 who is doing everything that it can do. Like paid professional PR people who are out in the world doing everything they can do to torpedo the Pac-12 and destabilize relationships. Because I don't know, is that a secret? I am hoping everybody knows this, but the Big 12 has PR on staff and utilizes outside PR firms to plant information and destabilize the Pac-12. I think it's a very close to the best secret, but it's absolutely happening. I think we've talked about it on this show before. It's why before we ever tell you anything, we vet it multiple ways. And again, we have I think vetted our Utah sources multiple different ways. But I also remind you, people call us all the time. People give us information all the time, like on a daily basis. Do you think we just roll all that out? No, because the Big 12 is paying people to disseminate information against the Pac-12 because they're trying to get to these presidents to force them into making a move.
schemers trying to control their little world.
And I don't think it's a surprise to anybody.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing that really needs to be said on top of that, because that's a great point, all these guys are talking right now, and what's going to be really fascinating is when the TV deal does inevitably come out, because just so you guys know, I know I'm not reinventing the wheel here. The TV deal will one day come out. I'm not sure that that's tomorrow, but one day, maybe
I don't
5
think
years
that's
from
true.
now, it will come out. When that deal does come out, it will be very interesting to see who does the talking, because if you remember the chain of events, how did this go down? And you can't forget this because this is super important in my opinion. Who came out first? Ray Anderson came out first, right? Ray Anderson goes on Arizona Sports in Phoenix and talks all about how, the conference needs this and the TV deal that we think we're going to get isn't going to live up to $50 million a year, but it's good enough to allow us to continue forward. We're committed to the 10 teams. Right? And then you have this sort of domino effect where we hear from Arizona, right? Now we're starting to hear from Utah. When am I going to hear from Washington? When am I going to hear from Colorado? Right? Don't be surprised if Washington comes out tomorrow and does an interview and Kase says a bunch of stuff that maybe her colleagues weren't expecting, because again, she's in the driver's seat here. So for me, I just think it's really fascinating. Like, we can talk all about like numbers and what we think they're going to get and what our sources are telling us. We can do that, and we do it almost on a daily basis. But ultimately, when you get down to it, what really is going to matter is who does the talking, when the deal comes out, and does this conference survive past this media negotiation? Because I don't think it's guaranteed. And that's why I think everybody is saying, oh, well, yeah, we're committed to each other.
Wait. Slow down. I don't mean to interrupt you. Slow down a minute.
Yeah.
When you say you don't believe that the Pac-12 will survive.
I think there's a chance that they won't survive past this media deal, because when you start thinking about all these people coming out and talking, why do people start talking? In life, in Pac-12 TV deal land, why does presidents, politicians, athletic directors, whoever, why do they start talking? Well, they start talking because they have to do damage control, because they know if, as an example, they were to wind up on Apple TV only, let's say, that would be really unhealthy and bad for their programs.
Yes.
So instead, what they're going to do is they're going to go out, they're going to do a bunch of media interviews with a bunch of people who are going to softball them a bunch of soft-ass questions, unless you're Bill Riley, who did a good job, in my opinion.
I thought you did a great job.
And they're going to make a bunch of comments. And that's what we call damage control, because they can see what's on the horizon. They know the storm is coming. And that's why I'm saying it's not a secret that these guys are talking right now.
Yeah. All right. Less of us, more of you. You guys, you're unbelievable. If you are not a member, please consider joining our membership. You can join for as little as $1.99. You can join as much as $9.99 a month, which gets you into our members-only Instagram group. And you get all of our exclusive information. You get Big Daddy Magic getting kicked out of the Utah Jazz practice facility today because he was asking players to say hello to the Monty Show. Look at Big Daddy Magic. You want to know who the true superhero on this show is?
Hey, Simon, can you say hello to the Monty Show?
Hello, Monty Show.
We love you, man.
Love you too.
Hey, thank you. I love you, baby.
You guys, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Big Daddy Magic doing his thing, and then Sarah Todd ate him for lunch and had him kicked off the property because he said hello to her. Listen, if you join the membership, please consider it $1.99, $9.99 a month, whatever level you want to get in. Support the show. We really appreciate it. All of our members, we read your comments first on a day like this where we have already thousands of comments. Guys like Jacob DeLambo is going to get his comment read first because he's a member. Pac-12 is not willing to give up on their legacy. Disagree with that. Greg Hawkins, who's a member, makes me glad that fans aren't responsible for media deals. Damn right. Damn right. And listen, I understand, and I want people to hear me clearly on this, because I think this is really important. I understand the passion behind the Utah fan base. I do. I think it is an integral part of what makes Utah University, the University of Utah, so special. Mm-hmm. It's what makes Utah football games at Rice-Eccles Stadium the greatest, in my opinion, home field advantage this side of the Mississippi. It is a phenomenal home field advantage. But it also is what is very detrimental to these kind of situations. I don't know why there is this appetite to torpedo the idea that if your president is not talking to the Big 12, he's making a mistake.
Right.
It is important that your president understands the Big 12, knows Brett Yormark, has a relationship with Brett Yormark, because you're going to need the Big 12 and Brett Yormark at some point in time to schedule a game, to help you schedule a game, to help you get into a venue. You're going to need that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the conference does melt down and you need to pick up the phone and say, hey, we're ready to have serious talks about getting into the conference. You need those relationships in place, right? So the idea that President Randall or any other president in the Pac-12 would disrespecting the process by talking to Brett Yormark is ridiculous. It's a dereliction of duty not to talk to Brett Yormark. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that you're trying to get into his conference? Not right now. Has Utah explored it? Absolutely. They have had multiple deep conversations. There has been a process that Utah has gone through. And at this time, Utah has told the Big 12, according to our sources, who we have multiple sources who we have vetted, who have all told us pretty much the exact same thing. Utah has told the Big 12, look, right now, we don't feel like we're a fit academically, right? And the other thing I thought was so interesting was that we saw on Twitter the other day this exact report from Utah fans who had said, no, they're not going to enter the Big 12. So take that for what it's worth. But Utah has told the Big 12, hey, we just don't feel like we're a fit academically. We're concerned if we lose our close ties to Cal and Stanford and others that we will lose academic revenue, and we're not prepared to do that. Not at this time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I truly do not, so I don't understand the vitriol behind that. I really, really do not. I really, really do not. Let's go. Pull it out, Jake.
Let's go.
Kelly Mitchek, the newest member of the Monty Show. Appreciate you. Bigfoot Duck says Jake never needs help to pull it out. No, Jake never needs help.
Yeah.
I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
C. Kaufman says, new member, pull it out, Jake. Yeah. Now it's like a calling. Now it's like a calling. Outside the echo chamber, who's a member of the program, says the academics is a problem that doesn't change when the Pac fails. It doesn't. But I also think when you look at the Pac-12's perspective, you are currently married to Cal, Stanford. You're married to Washington.
But what does that mean? You're married. Like
you are closely related to some of the powerhouses of research and education, especially in the Western United States.
Right.
Nobody cares about Cal because they don't win. But let me tell you, they win because academically and research-wise, they're very difficult to beat. Yeah. And being related to them helps. It absolutely helps.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that I think is even a question. Man, it's so hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that people get upset about that. I really don't understand it. Kelly, our newest member, says, give them hell, guys. Go Red Raiders. Let's go. Hey. What's up in Lubbock? How we doing, Red Raiders? Mike, who cheese Harry. Okay.
See what he did there? See what he did there
Mike,
with his name?
who cheese Harry.
Yeah. Yeah, you see what he did there?
I don't.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Right.
I don't get it. I want you to explain it so that you look like the idiot.
That would be a reference to some stuff that we're not going to talk about because this is a family program.
I just want Utah and the Mountain West so that Utah and Utah State can have their Thanksgiving weekend rivalry. It would be awesome for the state of Utah. Both those schools should refuse to play BYU. Okay. Go Black 45. I don't root for anyone in the SEC unless it helps LSU in some way, let alone root for a conference. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Tell me that you don't miss Ed O just for the way he says Tigers.
Yeah. Well, Ed O and his girlfriend were an issue.
Yeah. Gumby Extra Regular, who's a member, says, but academics don't matter in football. Yeah, unfortunately, I just think that there is a certain sect of fan who doesn't want to embrace the fact that athletics are pennies on the academic dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just make so much more money through research and through education than you do through athletics.
Yeah, I think what's tough is that if you say that to, the Utah football fan, right? The hardcore, tailgating at a pig bus, right? A booster, like you say that to someone who is really, involved, and their reaction is going to be, okay, well, if we go to independence, then we should be fine, right? And it's like, no, dude, independence isn't like where the university needs to go. And I think ultimately, that people get really salty over this because they're insecure about it. If I'm really being honest, like I look at some folks on Twitter and I'm like, dude, like, are you just being this much of a hard ass because you don't want the conference to burn to the ground and you don't want to be in the position where you're gonna have to beg to get in the Big 12? Because I think that's an honest, like, I'm not going to say there's a good chance that happens, but I think it's an honest possibility. I mean, if I said, hey, a year from now the Pac-12 doesn't exist, nobody would call me crazy.
No,
they would wonder how it would happen or like what the path would be or where everyone would go, but it's not a crazy ass take. And I think for me, I would say that I'm a more casual Utah fan. Like, I'm not a hardcore Utah fan. We obviously talk about them and cover them, but I'm not a fan per se. But as a casual observer, yeah, it would be sad if they found themselves in that predicament. I mean, that's just not ideal at all.
Yeah, it absolutely would be. There's no doubt. I don't know how you fix this. That's the issue. Okay, don't forget all of our football talk on the Monty Show is presented by our friends at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com, or visit any of their 5 stores if you're in the great state of Utah, Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and, of course, our friends in Murray on State Street. But you guys, shop online, bbqpitstop.com, no matter where you are in this great country of ours, bbqpitstop.com, because what I'm telling you is the expertise that you get about smoking, and I'm telling, get off of somebody asked me on Twitter on, what day were we driving home? Saturday. On Twitter, I was DMing with Dale, and he was asking me, well, you said you just plug it in and hit ignite. That's not true. Well, it is true.
Yeah, it is true.
You're casual.
It absolutely is true. Now, you got to take it out of the box. You got to put the wheels on. You got to put the rack. Okay, great. Once you build it, and it takes 20 minutes to build it, plug it in, put some pellets in the hopper, and hit ignite. And within 3 minutes, that thing will be smoking for you. And all you have to do is put your wings on there or put your brisket on there or your burgers, your steaks. There's a perception out there that smoking requires hours. We make the best drums because we don't eat flats. We make the best drums in 30 minutes on our Traeger Ironwood 885. Amazing. You put some asado seasoning on there, you guys.
Yes.
Have you had the asado seasoning yet? Have you had the Flavor Knuckles asado seasoning? Come on now. It's amazing. There it is right there. bbqpitstop.com. You want a smoker? bbqpitstop.com.
Yeah.
You want seasonings, sauces, rubs, spices? bbqpitstop.com. Hook it up. You want a great cut of meat? Did you know that every barbecue pit stop location now has a butcher shop?
Y'all feel me?
Telling you, man. It's your one-stop shop, bbqpitstop.com. Chat with them free online if you have questions. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Coming up in 5 minutes, football at 50. Wait until you hear what Baker Mayfield said about Tom Brady. Baker Mayfield talking about Tom Brady. You think I'm kidding. Christopher Shannon says exactly, Renee, BYU covers Utah. Yeah, I don't think that's true, Renee Roca. What exactly does Utah bring to the Big 12 BYU doesn't already cover? Well, there is that little thing called winning. BYU is going to, in my opinion, is going to be on a 5-year climb of a mountain. I think it is going to be 5 years before BYU is a legitimate football contender, because not only are they going to have to recruit up, they're going to have to staff up. You're going to have to bring in probably 2 or 3 levels at every position.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how we know this? We watched the Pac-12 in the way that Utah had to staff up and recruit up. So it's not just, hey, we have all our coaches, but now you need a lot more infrastructure. Now you need a lot higher caliber of player. right? And we know the challenges of recruiting to BYU or whatever, but you're going to have to probably add 2 or 3 players at every position.
Hey, guys.
You're going to have to probably add a little more infrastructure and humanity. So it's going to be 5 years before BYU is competitive. And when I say competitive, I mean competing to win a conference championship. I look at Utah. If Utah was in the Big 12 today, their women's basketball team is probably the best team in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Their men's football team at Utah is, in my opinion, the best football team in the Big 12. I think they can compete with even the vaunted Texas Longhorns. Texas, Oklahoma. I think Texas Tech is in a nice little place right now, especially with Oklahoma State being as far down as they are. I think Utah is in a position to win the conference now. Will they? Probably not. TCU's a hell of a football team.
Yeah.
Sonny Dykes is doing great things. But you can put in Utah right now today because they have a 2 and 3 deep. They have staff. They have Kyle Whittingham, one of the best coaches in the country nobody knows about. You have talent like Brant Keithy coming back. You have talent like Cam Rising coming back. Utah is a force today. Not tomorrow, today.
Right.
Which you cannot say about BYU. You can't say that about Houston, Cincinnati, UCF. You just can't say that. Utah is a significant step up in quality in athletics. Period. It's tough to argue any other way. Why do you think the Big 12 wants to add Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Gonzaga is still playing basketball, baby.
They got value.
And we're in the Sweet 16. They have value. They absolutely have value. Carl Adams says Big 12 should let Utah in, but give half their media rights share to BYU. Oh, kick in the balls.
Yeah.
Ken Williams, what's up? He says, hey, James. Ken Williams says, hey, Jake. James Knight says, you're back, Ken. Welcome back, partner.
Partner.
Hey, by the way, Ken, did you really sell your ranch, dude? You really sell the farm? You know. San Diego State says it's called your due diligence. Yes, it is. That's exactly right. Look at all of our guys. Good to see everybody on the show today.
Boys are back.
Let's go.